Hello, it's Kim from Dream Life by Design, and I am back today with another Teachery tutorial. This was a request from my last video, and in the comments, this person asked if I could show them how to create a background image for a Teachery course or theme. This video is going to walk you through how you can create a full cover background image. And if you don't know what that is, let me just quickly demonstrate. So in my theme toolkit example, you can see I have these clouds in the background. That is a background image. And this is also a background image that I have applied in this theme example that I created for Teachery. However, this one's a little bit more subtle. It's just a texture, so it kind of fades into the background a little more. But in contrast to that, we have this other theme that I created for Teachery, which is very bold and vibrant, and there's lots of beautiful things going on in the background. So you really can get quite experimental with what you do with backgrounds, and a lot of it is just a bit of trial and error, trying to move things around in the right placement in your Canva graphic, and then just popping that into Teachery with a little bit of CSS. Here's another example where I've gone for a very subtle pattern background, and then another example where it's a little bit more full on and a little bit more visual, and this is a map in the background. So there's lots that you can do, and in this video I'm going to walk you through a simple demonstration of how to achieve this for your own course or theme. So before we go ahead, I just want to show you exactly what it is that we will be doing with the code. So don't freak out when I say code. It's going to be supplied for you, and it will be very easy to update. So any custom styling lives under Style Your Theme and Add Custom CSS. And within here, we are just paying attention to this section, which says course background image. Now, this particular piece of code is updating the background image for the overview page, which is what you see here, the lesson pages, and also the payment pages. So you have that visual consistency throughout your entire theme or course. So you don't need to pay any attention to this. The only bit you will be updating is this background image piece here. And now that you've seen this piece, let's go into Canva, where I have a demo asset ready for you. So here's a quick example that I've made earlier. I will also provide a link to this in the description below, so make sure you check that after you've watched the video. And I've decided I'm going to just pop in some pretty flowers. There's a very subtle texture added as well, just for a little bit of visual interest. Now, what you need to understand is that depending on how big your course or theme is, so how many lessons or modules you've got added in, it will make the page expand. So it's good to either consider making a longer background or just having one that repeats. I always like to leave a blank piece at the top and a blank section at the bottom, so that if this particular image does repeat, it's going to be seamless. So that's why I like to add those spaces around. But you will figure that out when you start playing around with this yourself. So the first thing that we need to do is export this as a PNG or a JPEG. I always do PNG, so we'll do download. Now I do have another example graphic in here, but I just want this demo one here, so I will download that. And then within Teachery, we need to host this image so that we can have the URL ready for us to paste into here. Now, a little hack to do this is to go back to your editor and just find any kind of content region. And if you add a new line, click the plus, insert an image, and just upload your graphic. Also, side note, I haven't shown this in this video, but it's best practice to go ahead and compress this graphic before uploading it, because any image assets that you add into your course are going to add to the page load time. So we need to be mindful of that. Now, there are lots of free tools that you can use, but I highly recommend Tiny PNG. Anyway, moving on. So now we have our image uploaded. We can click on this icon here, which says replace. And if you click on by URL, you will see that it's given you the URL where this is hosted in Teachery. So let's copy that And I'm going to delete this out from here as well because I don't actually need it in there. And we will go down to style our theme, add custom CSS, and then scroll down to our code. And what you're looking for is this section that says background image URL. And then within the little quotes, you want to pop in your new URL. Now, if you scroll up to the top, you can apply the changes and you can see that those have come in, and then click publish. Once you've done that, if you go back to your editor, you will not see your graphic applied here. You will just see the background color that you have set within your theme or your course in this section. So I think there's a section that says course background color, and you can see that it's got that there. Now my background is showing in this particular view. I have no idea why, but if you go back to the main editor itself, you won't see it. So just be mindful of that. But to see your background in action, exactly how your students or your theme customers will see it, you'll want to preview your course, and then you can see it is in place. So one thing you might notice about this background is that when I scroll, it stays fixed. So it's only showing a portion of the background image that I created. Now, if you don't like how that looks, what you can do is go into here, go to style your theme, add custom CSS. And if you scroll down a little bit again to find your code, you can change this background attachment piece to say scroll rather than fixed. So let's apply those changes and publish. And this gives a slightly different look. So if I refresh the page, you can see now that the background is scrolling with me. So it all is a matter of preference, but I just wanted to show you those two options so that you could play around with this yourself. Now, one final thing I want to caveat here is, again, this will take trial and error to get your background image feeling just right. And also you want to be mindful of what you're doing in terms of background image when you come into these lesson pages, because for example, this one is quite a busy background, so it makes sense for me to have a background color on the lesson page container. But if your particular theme or course doesn't have that in place, then you need to be aware that this background graphic could then impose on some of the text on your page. And we always want to make sure that we're creating something that is really legible, functional, usable, beautiful for our users. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and make sure that you check the description because I will link to the code that you need as well as the demo Canva template. So I'll see you next time, and any questions, just drop them in the comments.